Are you ready?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to read you a I'm going to read you a funny part in my story. So it's he's bugging me. So, chapter 19. No match for Paulo. Paulo then removed the snow overlapping the frozen ground with his bare hands like a puppy searching for a lost buried bone, trying to exhume it from the dirt. As he was digging, he was ferociously launching the snow backward to the opposite of him into a small ditch. He then began to dig around in his right arm forepocket and ended up pulling out a small brass trinket he did not remember having. A whistle? Questioned Paulo to himself about the unknown object. He put it back for possible later use and then took out a small matchbox which had fancy red and orange designs on it that almost looked like it stored poker, blackjack, or tarot cards. This box from his left side forepocket was half filled with red-headed matches. He grabbed a red-tipped match from the front section, then held the box in one hand and struck the match on the box with the other. The match did not light even a single spark. It struck the box a couple times with the light snap, and the red potassium chlorate substance on the match had rubbed off onto and stained the box with a red skid mark that looked like Cthulhu wiped his A word across it. And yeah, his bad word, the book has curse words in it.
Richie.
A lot of books have bad words in it.
Yeah, but you wrote this one.
I know. Across it, and the flammable element immediately burnt off the matchstick, which revealed a spotless, soft wooden ball. Paulo sighed in frustration, yet still in a semi-calm state, and threw the match to the side. Then he pulled out another. He struck the match on the side of the box, and it made a scratching sound on the cardboard surface. A sound of hope to Paulo. But that hope quickly diminished at the speed of sound when he lifted it up and discovered that the matchstick had bent forward with a snap. Yet again, not even a single flame was being produced on the red tip. He stared furiously at the broken match and gritted his teeth together hard, grinding them and contracting his face muscles tight. He looked like an angry Rottweiler, and he felt as if steam was smoking and gassing out of his ears like a locomotive steam engine. The matchbox, along with the matches inside, beckoned and jeered at him, taunting him to make him become even more furious. Mega furious. And summoning the angry and P-word. Well, can I just say it?
No.
Side of Paulo. He had struck it with too much force. He also threw that one to the side and took out another match. With brutal impatience, he quickly grabbed another match from the box with enraged anger and tried it, striking the match hard on the box once more. But to his unsurprised and dizzied mind, he was being too rough, and as a result, the match pressed onto the box too hard and snapped it out. And the head of the match, along with half the matchstick still attached to it, flew off the box, cartwheeling and flipping with great yet dramatic momentum in the air, and bounced off the tree, landing in the snow below with a light snuff sound, then a poof. He looked at the half piece of matchstick in his hand and viciously stared at it for a second or two, then threw it away.
This is one angry boy.
Yeah. He's having a bit of a match problem. He took out, and hence the title. It's supposed to be a pun. Where was I? He took out another match angrily with speedy grit and tried lighting it again, but this time veering it leftward off the side of the box into the center with great force as such, and stabbing the head of the match right through the front of the box, which rubbed off the red substance on the head and decapitated the match head from its stick. He then reached for match number 5 and did the same exact thing, ruining that one too, and then a 6th, all the matches failing on him. He gave up and flipped the matchbox out of the palm of his hand and into the snow like an angry toddler not getting his way, and pouted, with all the remaining matches spilling out. He sat there pouting on the ground, not giving a care in the world to even take another peek at that matchbox and the matches on the ground. But then the Lord spoke to him.
Oh.
Success comes with patience, my boy, and great things come with the furthermost will to succeed. Paulo looked up and admitted he was wrong, and God was right. You're right, Lord. They are just matches. And I do realize that now that success does take patience and great things really do take the will to succeed. He commended. He cleaned up his mess and neatly ordered the matches around in the box, then took out one last one. He held it up to his face and prayed to God that this one would work. His 7th match. He readied a piece of paper from his pack and folded it into a small shape to stick the match into. He then struck it on the box, this time less speedy and more reverently and gently. The match lit and created a spark, which also created another new spark of hope and happiness in Paulo's mind and heart. He then slid the match into the small paper pipe he made and set it down plainly and neatly onto the frozen icy batch of ground, along with a pile of brimble he found, and watched it burn and crackle with vivacious joy, as his plan had finally worked. It was worth it to him now, seeing all those beautiful, hot, and bright. Okay, that's right punctuation. And bright flamed embers of hope, both igniting from the fire and his feelings, along with some smoky ash too from his pittance with the matches, talking in emotional terms. While this was happening for him, Paulo looked inside the box and saw what looked to be a huge majority of the matches missing. 7, to be exact. Gah, what a waste, said Paulo, feeling displeased and antagonized.
Gah.
I think there's more, hold on.
I'll pause for just a second. Okay.
So this one is Chapter 7, Drills and Training Galore. I'm going to start the part where he beats the soldier up. Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
also for Christmas, I also want
Okay,
an
so-
emo robot.
Okay, so I think this is the one. Okay, 1 mile into the trek. So basically, they're marching to Southampton to like plan for D-Day. 1 mile into the trek, soldiers were grunting and moaning and ache and exhaustion. Oh, come on, you big babies! You can't give up now. You've come all this way just to be little sissies who choose not to do nothing, who choose to not do any. Who choose to do nothing to advocate for themselves. Come on, let's go, push through it, Sergeant Lenny ordered. While everyone was walking, Ricky tapped Paulo's shoulder and said, "Look ahead." Paulo looked ahead and saw 2 soldiers in the way front beginning to slap and hit each other. "Stop bumping into me," one of them said. "I can't help it, man. We are all huddled together again," the other one said. They walked for a few more seconds, and the same 2 soldiers began going at it again. The first soldier nudged into and pushed the second soldier to the side. Then he said, "Okay, now you're doing it on purpose."
How old are these soldiers?
They're I don't know. I didn't put their age.
You know, they're at least 18, right?
No, they're not. I don't know. Doing it on purpose. The second one said, "Hey, what's going on over there?" Sergeant Lenny shouted out. The first one said, "Well, I didn't mean to, mate. I can't help this cramp of space." The first one said. Then the second soldier got really angry and punched the other one in the stomach. The soldier who got punched let out a groan and shouted, "You want to try that again, man?" And then he tackled the second one to the ground. A huge bundle of soldiers near the 2 moved to the side in a C shape. Sergeant Lenny's face began turning red, and he charged towards the group. He pushed the soldiers out of the way and tried to stop the 2 from lunging fists at each other. Paulo said, "What's going on?" And Ricky said, "Well, what does it look like?" Paulo nudged his head a bit to the left and saw the 2 punching and kicking each other. Paulo looked on and watched the fight unfold. Sergeant Lenny shouted, "Break it up. You two are like 2 little girls fighting over a hairbrush." One of the soldiers sat on top of the other and then began slapping him in the face with something in his hand. The second one tried fighting back by taking his boot off and whacking the other in the head with it, only to have his sock fly off from the force of him tugging and pulling the boot off his foot and then land inside the first soldier's uniform jacket. The soldier on top of him got really angry and then took his canteen out of his pocket, but as he did that, the second one hit him square in the crotch. The first one collapsed to the floor, coughing and groaning. He knelt over him and started beating him in the chest and neck with his boot. Oh my god. Everybody was looking down and watching, having stopped marching completely. Sergeant Lenny and the other generals kept shouting at the two on the ground to stop fighting, not being able to do anything about it since the soldiers watching in the crowd were blocking their path. The one lying on the ground grabbed his canteen, opened it, and launched water into the other's face. He staggered back with water dripping from his face as he was trying to wipe it